Mrin, good to host you on today's episode of Our Story. You are an expert in everyone's favorite topic, which is money. And I'm sure this conversation is going to be extremely relevant to everyone who is watching. So, welcome.
Thank you, Santosh.
You're the founder of Finsafe. What was the driving force for you to start this organization? What was the problem that you're looking at solving?
Well, we are actually looking at solving the problem of financial literacy among the educated in India. So, prior to founding FinSafe for a very long period, I have been in the investment advisory space and managing very large client portfolios. But one of the things that I always saw that was that one, women were typically never involved in managing money, even though they were highly educated. And at the same time, the financial literacy levels among the educated people in India is also extremely low. So I really believe that if we can make an impact in that segment, it can actually then percolate down to the masses as well, because each one of us within our circles knows people, and then of course we've got health and we've got other people whom we are supporting, right? So I think it can have a very nice spiraling effect. And again, this was a segment that nobody is really looking at, right? I mean, when you think of financial literacy in India, everybody thinks it's only for the underprivileged. So yes, so this is the problem that we've been trying to solve for.
Fabulous. And if I get the numbers correct, you've covered over 3 lakh people in terms of extending financial
Yeah.
literacy. That's
Yeah, almost touching, actually touching 4 lakhs almost. So
wow.
in the last 9 years, yeah.
So I'm sure there have been many impact story, but has any one particular story stuck with you?
I wouldn't say any one, honestly, Santosh, but we do regularly have people writing back about the sort of impact that we have made and thanking us for telling them this. And we do have a lot of people coming back for our sessions as well. So I think that itself shows as to the impact that we can make if people are coming back again and again to basically listen to what you're saying.
Absolutely. When you say you've covered 4.5 lakh individuals, do they include students? And I just want to add something here. The reason I'm saying this is while we teach our children a lot in school, I feel somewhere the financial literacy or how to manage money seems like a void. So how do you think that gets addressed, and how are you addressing that?
Well, our primary segment that we actually cover is working professionals, but we do have a college program as well where we impart financial basics to students who are going to be graduating. Because, of course, these students, once they graduate and get into jobs, they still need to manage money. And, of course, money is a very, very big life skill. Now, unfortunately, Santosh, we do not have this in the curriculum. And generally, even in the life skills curriculum in schools and colleges, this is not taught. But what is very interesting is that I do see certain colleges now picking this up as a life skill. And I think, where the difference would really be, like, when I see physical fitness, for example, everybody is very concerned about being physically fit, because it's been driven into you, right? I mean, you have like all around you, and of course there's a huge celebrity influence on being physically fit, right? But that's not the case for being financially fit. And I think we're at a very, very nascent stage right now. There is some talk that the school boards are going to introduce financial literacy at the school level, but I think it's very important that at the college level there be proper programs with credits so that students take it seriously.
That's so true and so good to see that the conversations happening at a school board level. That is going to have a much larger impact. You also are the founder of Vomantra, which focuses on women's. And at a very
Yes.
personal story, I actually lost a very close friend of mine, and I see that once the earning person departs, the people at home feel very lost, and this brings about the focus on literacy of women when it comes to finances, understanding that. So please, I would love to hear more about Mantra from you.
Actually, when we founded FinSafe, Mantra is our flagship program. Because, again, as I said, through all the years that I was managing customers, I had not one single women client, and all the all the male customers I had, their spouses were just not involved, right? And I always thought it very odd that when women can do everything else, why can they not manage money? So of course the social structure of our society is such that we are brought up to think that managing money is something that men can do better. But that's not true, right? I think it's equal. I wouldn't say that anybody, that I can't say confidently that men are better or women are better. So this was the reason. I also believe that women have a lot of different. They're always multitasking, and that's one of the reasons somewhere the money management comes down in the priority list. But I want to say this, that it is extremely important that this be on the top of your priority list, because honestly today, if you have to live a good life, you need to have a good amount of money to live that good life, whether it is for yourself or it is for your children as well. Also, this example that you took of the case where the spouse, for example, passes away, and this is very common. And Santosh, I want to talk about during COVID. We had so many cases, we had so many companies reaching out to us saying that the employee has passed away, and the spouse doesn't know what to do because they've never been to the ATM, or they don't have the debit card pin, or they don't know the access to the account and stuff like that. And we had a case where someone said, can you help us figure out where the account is? So we said, nobody can help you in all of this. It's going to be a matter of discovery for you, where you have to start rummaging through all the papers at home to actually figure out things. And the other example that I want to share of COVID again is the fact that many of the companies gave large payouts. So we were actually running a program where there was support to the spouse for 3 months with a financial advisor. And in most of the cases, what we actually saw was that there was a lot of interference of family members. And seldom would they actually listen to the financial advisor, because family member will say that, nay, nay, don't put it here. Why don't we put it in the family business and stuff like that? So money, unfortunately, is a very sensitive topic, and it can drive people sometimes to be very selfish. And I think, really, as I said, that today, if we want to have a good life based on what we think is important to us, right? I think it is really important that money management needs to be at the top of your priorities for sure.
Yeah, that's indeed a valuable advice, and I really hope that this culture, or this the culture change happens at home, wherein everybody gets serious about money and believes it's an equal responsibility rather than one person's responsibility.
And Santosh, I will say at least get aware. I mean, I can tell you in 90% of the cases, the women are not even aware of the family finances. Like, where are the investments? What are the investments? The other thing is, you know that most loans are taken in the name of women, where they just sign blindly without knowing what is even the loan and what could be the implications. So I'm saying at least be aware of all these matters.
Yeah. In fact, since you mentioned loan, I think one very important fact is many people have credit cards. So whether after a person's death, whether the liability goes on to the next person, they're not aware of it, right? It is they're not aware of the fact that
Yeah.
credit cards have their own insurance for anybody's death, and it's unsecured lending.
Santosh, actually, it's very commonly seen that number one, for most people, nominations are not in place correctly. Thankfully, over the last 1 year, the government has made it mandatory, at least on your financial accounts, to provide nominees. So, hopefully, that is in place, and hopefully, people have provided the right nominees. Now, even you talked about credit card insurance and all, many people don't sign up for it, right? So what actually happens is that when the death happens, after that they figure out that they have not provided the nomination or they haven't signed up for that particular insurance. So these are all very small things that we take for granted. Even cases like, for example, if let's say there's a medical emergency in the family, they will not even know who do I reach out for the health insurance, or where is the health insurance policy, right? So start getting aware.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned about health and fitness, and that really catching up. Obviously, a big role is played by the influencer, which are from from the media. I would call media being a larger. It could be Bollywood, it could be Hollywood, it could be individual influencers. So what I'm also observing, and in fact, that's a very common thing, and a lot of people are starting getting interested in equities because they believe they're going to get astronomical returns as compared to what they would get in other things. That's like an image, right? Oh my God, you made like the money became 2x in a year, right? And they think that is the norm, and they start following individuals who offer these advices and offer these and often this term is influencers. Often these influencers are not giving the right financial advice. Since you are in this business, how does someone distinguish uh, an, a credible advice?
Well, I don't think that social media is the place for serious advice. Honestly, in any subject for that matter, right? Even if you're looking at subjects other than finance, I mean, you cannot learn, coding, or you cannot learn AI based on social media videos. The same way you cannot learn how to manage money. And you must remember that if a influencer is giving you an advice, it's at best a personal experience that the person has had. And I mean, honestly, what is their credibility to actually give this advice, right? So let's say, you got lucky with some stocks and you got rich and you started giving advice. But the point is that, how long has this person been in the business? And the other thing that you should always remember is that the amount of money that you have, the amount of risk that you can take, is going to be very different from a social media influencer who's actually advising you. Also, as a financial advisor, I would like to say this, that 80% of personal finance is your emotions, and only 20% is the product that you buy, right? So, again, have you managed, like when you manage people's money, it's a completely different perspective that you're going to provide versus, just coming into a 1 minute video and saying something. And honestly, all of these reels and these videos at best are like tips, right? I mean, this is not sound financial advice. So that's point number one. I think, for any individual who wants to do more on personal finance, there are some courses available. But more than that, a simple way would be, take the subscription of one of the financial dailies and read the personal finance column, right? I mean, even if you just scan through it once a week, it should be good enough for you. But I think that's a very good way to basically learn more about personal finance. Either take a course, or and at the same time have the subscription of one of the financial dailies.
That's really useful. You mentioned 80/20, 80 emotion, 20 product. Can you expand on that a bit, please?
So, see, whenever you're buying a product, 80% of the decision is dependent on your emotions, or what you feel about the product. It's not on the features of the product that you're making the entire decision. A lot of investment decision making is actually what you believe about the product. So, some inherent biases that you have about this particular product.
Okay. You deal with a lot of individuals, working people, as well as entrepreneurs. Their approach to finance would be different. What is the most common financial mistake that you see entrepreneurs make in their journey?
Well, if you're looking at smaller entrepreneurs, I think the biggest mistake that they make is not to basically, have their household finances and their business finances separate, right? So a lot of times they would kind of mix both of them, and they don't take a regular income from the business, right? Which is very important. So for any entrepreneur, you must also give yourself a regular salary, and you must basically differentiate your business and your personal expenses.
Okay, okay. From an India landscape, what are the shaping the future of personal finance and investments in India right now?
Well, I think DIY investing online is certainly has certainly caught up in a very big way. So, I mean, certainly, I do see these more and more platforms coming in. At the same time, what really concerns me is that investors continue to make the same mistake, which is, as you said, expecting astronomical returns in the shortest period of time. And so a lot of investment decisions are driven by tips and not really based on sound financial planning. So I think one, of course, a lot needs to be done on financial education, because we are still seeing investors falling for the same old traps, which is quick returns and ponzi schemes, and the whole thing around cryptocurrency that you see, or people getting into unregulated investments as well, right? So I think a lot needs to be done on financial education. And I think investors certainly need to look at taking informed decisions over, like, just based on all of these tips and everything. So I would say that even if the platforms that are there should probably, and I know most of the platforms do have quite a bit of educational content, but they should basically up that content. The second thing is that I think we need to be more open to taking financial advice. Now, there are very few financial advisors in India, honestly, compared to the population that we have. Uh, I also see that people do not value paying for financial advice. So, this is something that people really need to think of changing, because today a financial advisor can really help you structure your finances, do a financial plan for you. And this goes much beyond than just telling you where to invest, right? They're there to handhold you through your entire journey. So I think it's really important that people start getting open to paying for financial advice as well. And I would say that these are two things that investors honestly should start thinking of working on.
Right. So with this budget that was announced recently, now the income which is exempt has been extended to 12 lakhs, which will leave a little bit more money in the investor's hand. So what would your recommendation be for people to enhance their saving and investment?
Well, if you have a lot of loans and you're kind of in a debt trap, obviously use this money to pay off the loans, because you're going to help reduce your interest burden. But if you're not in that situation, I think try to make a plan where, of course, you use a part of the money, maybe like 10-20% of the saving, towards some maybe fun expenses. But certainly look at investing the rest of the money, because it can help grow to a larger amount. So, for example, let's say if somebody is saving about 80,000 rupees from taxes, and let's say they look at repaying off about 45,000 rupees of loan, and then they invest the balance amount. So again, we have made some assumptions here. For example, if they have a 20 lakh loan sorry, they have a 50 lakh loan outstanding for 20 years at the rate of 9%. So the EMI is around 45,000. So look, so let's say that out of 80,000, you look at moving 45,000 towards an extra EMI. And then you look at investing the balance 35,000, right? So what's going to happen is at the end of 20 years, you're going to end up with another 37 lakhs more. And at the same time, you are actually going to reduce your loan repayment period as well, right? So please do work this out, is what I would say, for every individual. Based on your financial situation, you need to figure out what's going to work best for you. But certainly I would say that try to use some part of the money to repay an extra EMI, invest some part of the money, and then whatever is remaining, have fun with it.
That's very sound advice. Loan. We see a lot of different kind of loans that people carry with them, right? Housing loan is one, which of course is backed with an investment of sorts, but then you have some people taking a car loan, some taking education loan, and then you have also strangely a lot of people taking credit card loans, which is very high interest. Is there some formula that we can adhere to compared to our income and loans? Is there some sort of a ballpark ratio that we can keep in mind of income to loan?
Yes, as a percentage of your take home, the EMI should be limited to 30%. So limit the EMIs to 30% of the take home. And this could be any loans. Now, there are a lot of people taking buy now, pay later loans. There are a lot of people taking even early wage access, which I think is like the craziest product that's there today in the market. If people were not already taking so many loans, the company is signing up for providing early wage access to employees. And I think it's a really bad move, because what early the ease of taking loan actually just gets you to take more loans, and it doesn't incentivize you to repay the loan, right? So you're forever going to be living your life on loans. So I would just say, whatever loans you have, try to limit the EMI to 30% of the take home.
irrespective of the kind of loan that is there, right?
Yeah, EMI is an EMI. Yeah, end of the
EMI,
day, it's an
EMI,
interest.
EMI is an EMI, even if it's a home loan, even if it's a car loan, doesn't matter. Your journey in FinSafe has been long and fruitful. Anything that you've planned after this? Any other thoughts pipeline that is brewing?
Well, we have recently upgraded our digital platform, and we do intend to and while this is currently available only to our B2B customers, we do intend to come out with a retail offering, because I do believe that in the retail space also there are people looking for good financial literacy materials. So, I talked about the course and I talked about reading and everything. So we're trying to provide this platform where people can use it for financial literacy. So that's up on the cards, maybe post April.
Are you in for a quick rapid fire? I'm not giving you too much scope to warm up, but we can just kickstart. Okay. One financial mistake everyone should avoid.
Thinking you can get rich very quickly from investments.
Okay. Investing in stocks or real estate. What's your personal preference?
Stocks any day.
Okay. Tea or coffee? What fuels your day?
Tea,
Tea. Okay, wonderful. What's the
despite
best?
being in South India.
What's the best financial advice you have ever received?
Best financial advice that I have ever received: do not time the markets.
Do not time the market. Okay. Gold or Bitcoin?
Gold any day. It's regulated. Bitcoin is unregulated.
Okay. Your first ever investment.
Public Provident Fund, PPF.
If you weren't in finance, what would you be doing?
Maybe hotel management.
One thing you always splurge on without any guilt.
Luxury bags.
Nice. Your dream or favorite vacation destination.
Europe any day. And I think my dream vacation would be to be able to take a month off and live in Italy and explore Italy.
Wonderful. This is so cool to have you on this conversation, and I think there's a lot for anyone to watch and take away, implement, and get direct return. So it's a good ROI conversation. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Santosh.